Hey besties, it's Tori and welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be doing my March TBR slash hopefuls. I don't know if I will get through this whole stack, but this is kind of what's like really high on my radar right now, what I'm really looking forward to reading. I didn't do anything fun to help me pick these books this month. I'm just kind of mood reading so I can kind of get out of this slump that I've been feeling since we jumped into 2024. So I have some rereads, some really new releases that are really hyped up, a little bit of fantasy, lots of romance, a little bit of everything. So I'm really excited about this month's reads. So with all that being said, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my face. Check out all my socials down below, including my Goodreads and my Amazon book wish list. And let's get into my March TBR. Okay, quick warning, I just want to say I have a bit of a cold right now, so my voice might sound a little stuffy. That's because I am stuffy, but I just wanted to give a little warning really quick. Okay, so we're going to start with the rereads because those are ones that I have already read, I know everything about, and I just kind of want to get them out of the way. So first we have Magnolia Park's The Long Way Home. I have already completed this entire series, but I miss these characters so much and I want to do a reread so bad. So this is my fully annotated version of this book. I love these characters and I love this story so much. If you don't know anything about Magnolia Parks, I feel like you're kind of living under a rock. But if you have never heard anything about it, it's basically if Gossip Girl was kind of like set in London. It's very toxic romance. It's this really close-knit friend group called the Full Box Set, and all of their like toxic friendships, relationships, parent problems, just so much stuff. Jessa Hastings is literally an absolute mastermind genius when it comes to her writing. She has the most like lyrical and meaningful writing style ever. Her quotes are absolutely unmatched. This is my all-time favorite romance series literally ever. I don't know if anything could top this for me, and if it did, that would be literally shocking for everybody involved. But this is the third book in the series. So the way that the series works is you read Magnolia Parks and then Daisy Hates, and then Magnolia Parks The Long Way Home, and then Daisy Hates The Great Undoing, and then book number 5 and the final book out so far is Magnolia Parks Into the Dark. So you kind of can like tandem read them if you want to. I started my reread towards like the end of fall, beginning of winter last year, and I just want to go ahead and complete it. So I'm going to keep doing my reread. I also, just like I said, miss these characters so much, and I feel like the best way to get out of a reading slump is to reread one of your favorite books. So this is the first book on my March TBR. Then we have another super beloved book by me. This is my favorite book in the entire universe. This book is literally me. I love it to bits and pieces, and that is Emily Henry's Happy Place. When I do my reread of this, it'll be my third time reading it all the way through. I have read it once a year for the last 3 years, and I love it so much. Mine is heavily annotated. I love this with every piece of my mind, body, and soul. Like, this is my favorite book of all time. If anyone were like, what's one book that you had to reread for the rest of your life, it'd be Happy Place by Emily Henry. This basically follows Harriet and Wynne, and it's kind of like a past and present time perspective. So the past is when Harriet and Wynne were together, them falling in love, kind of their love story, and then the now timeline is they have broken up, but they haven't told any of their friends yet, and their friends every single year go on this like annual trip together, and Harriet and Wynne are basically fake dating while on this trip so that nobody knows that they've broken up. And there's just so many beautiful quotes in here. Harriet and Wynne's love for each other is so deep. It's literally so beautiful, and you kind of just like watch them figure out who they are as people and how they can maybe try and fix all these issues that they have together. And the friendships and found family in here is amazing. Literally everything about this book I love so much. I recommend this so highly. This is a 6-star read for me, and I cannot wait to do my reread, specifically before Emily Henry's new book comes out in April, which is why it's on the March TBR. Okay, these next two are ones I have heard so many people chit-chatting about recently all over social media. Also, I apologize, the sun keeps like coming in and out, so bear with me with that. But the first one is First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. This is a hopeless romantic meets a demoralized radio host in this cozy, sleepless in Seattle inspired love story. That sounds amazing. Also, obsessed with this cover. I had such a hard time getting my hands on this book. I literally searched high and low every single store around me that I could. Nobody had it, so I had to order mine on Barnes & Noble's website because even Amazon was out of stock. And then after I got mine in the mail, all my bookstores started having it again. I was like, right, okay, making me go the extra mile. But this says, Aiden Valentine has a secret. He's fallen out of love with love. And as the host of Baltimore's Romance Hotline, that's a bit of a problem. When a young girl calls in the station asking for dating advice for her mom, the interview goes viral, thrusting Aiden and heartstrings into the limelight. Lucy Stone thought she was doing just fine. She has a good job and an incredible family and a smart, slightly devious kid. But when all of Baltimore is suddenly scrutinizing her love life, or lack thereof, she begins to question if she's as happy as she believed. Maybe a little more romance wouldn't be such a bad thing. Everyone wants Lucy to find her happy ending, even the handsome, temperamental man calling the shots. But when sparks start to fly behind the scenes, Lucy must take the final decision between the radio-sponsored Happily Ever After or the man in the headphones next to her. That sounds so good. Also, anything like Sleepless in Seattle, I'm here for. I love a good rom-com. They are my favorite books and movies of all time. I love a good 90s, early 2000s rom-com vibe. Like, that is me to a T. So I'm so beyond excited to read this one. I've heard so many good things. It's the cutest cover I've ever seen, and I've never read anything by this author before, so I'm really excited to test her out. This next one is like breaking the internet right now, and that is The Favorites by Lainey Fargo. At least I think that's how you say it. Either Lainey or Lane, something like that. But this is all over literally everything. It's about these two figure skaters, and it's kind of like the rise and fall of their fame, something like that. I've heard so many people talking about it. So many people love this book, and it's supposed to kind of be in the like interview style vibe that Daisy Jones and the Six goes by, so I'm really intrigued by it. She might not have a famous name, funding, or her family support, but Katarina Shaw has always known that she was destined to become an Olympic skater. When she meets Heath Rocha, a lonely kid stuck in the foster care system, their instant connection makes them a formidable duo on the ice. Clinging to skating and each other to escape their turbulent lives, Kat and Heath go from childhood sweethearts to champion ice dancers, captivating the world with their scorching chemistry, rebellious style, and roller coaster relationship, until a shocking incident at the Olympic Games brings their partnership to a sudden end. As the 10-year anniversary of their final skate approaches, an unauthorized documentary reignites the public fascination with Shaw and Rocha, claiming to uncover the real story through interviews with their closest friends and fiercest rivals. Kat wants nothing to do with the documentary, but she can't stand the thought of someone else defining her legacy. So after a decade of silence, she's telling her story. From the childhood tragedies that created her all-consuming bond with Heath to the clash of desires that tore them apart. Sensational rumors have haunted their every step for years, but the truth may be even more shocking than the headlines. I'm so beyond excited. I searched once again high and low for this book. Anytime a book goes viral anywhere, it's so hard to find, but I got my hands on it. I'm so beyond excited. I think it sounds so good. It literally gives, like, I love the documentary aspect of it because I love like true crime, true stories, stuff like that. And it's also giving that there's going to be trauma, beautiful quotes, love, loss, all the stuff that I love in a romance. So I'm ecstatic to finally dip my toe into this book and see what all the hype is about. Okay, now we have a little bit of fantasy because I'm a fantasy girly through and through, and I feel like I just need a little bit in my life right now. So first we have Lies That Bleed by Leah Stone. This is book 1 in one of her newest series. If you are new here, I love Leah Stone. I love her so much. I completed 2 of her series in the span of like 3 weeks because I love her that much. She is like a much smaller author. This is literally an indie edition of her book. The 3rd book I think comes out sometime soon actually, but I'm so excited to get into a new series by her. For tonight, we either lived or died in the wilds. Nothing else mattered. As the daughter of the emperor, Aisling Everhart was born into privilege. She has trained her entire life to go into the wilds and have a chance at bonding with a creature that can give her unknown power. Half of the candidates will die the first night, and only a few will make it out. Those who survive the bonding are quickly conscripted into the imperial fleet to join the war. What Aisling never could have prepared for was Cohen Badshaw, former Prince of Imbria, her father's sworn enemy. When Cohen proposes an unlikely alliance, she accepts. They enter the wilds together, and Aisling realizes that she was woefully unprepared, especially when nothing goes to plan. After barely surviving, she's thrust into the Imperial fleet to learn how to control her new gifts, but as her power grows, so do the dangers, including multiple attempts on her life. When you don't know who is friend or enemy, it's hard to trust, but Cohen appears to be protecting her. It's that or he's playing one excellent long game. Which one? Only time will tell. I love anything with a good competition. I love an enemies to lovers. I love the like privileged girl kind of like, I don't know, literally everything about it sounds so good. This is luckily on KU. They just added it to Kindle Unlimited. I just downloaded it literally last night. So I'm so excited. I've missed her writing. Her books are quite short. This one's literally 400 pages, and I think that's the perfect length for a fantasy book. She's YA, literally just everything about her. Obsessed. So I'm really looking forward into getting into this one. Okay, last but not least, this is the one that I'm the most scared of, actually, because she is thick, but I've heard so many amazing things about it, so I'm really excited, and that is City of Gods and Monsters by Kayla Edwards. This is the House of Devils series. The fourth and final book comes out really soon. I think it's in May. I've heard so many people talk about this recently, and I'm really excited to see what it's all about. A lot of people say it kind of gives Crescent City vibes, only in the aspect of like the urban new fantasy kind of thing. Lauren Kella has only ever been ordinary. As a human struggling to survive in a city that caters to the needs of vampires, werewolves, witches, and other supernatural creatures, she always assumed her life would remain simple, predictable, and as safe as her world would allow. Until she barely escapes abduction at the hands of dark slayers, supernatural bounty hunters that possess the sight, a magical tracking ability that allows them to see a person's aura, and one of her friends is taken in her place. The abductors are demanding a ransom, Lauren's life in exchange for her friend's safe return. Lauren will do whatever it takes to get her friend back, even if it means accepting help from Darien Castle, the leader of the Seven Devils, the most feared dark slaying circle in the city. Darien specializes in tracking down demons and criminals that are better off dead than alive, so when he takes a job to track down Lauren and finds out she's human and couldn't hurt a fly if her life depended on it, she decides to protect her instead of turn her into a reward. As much as Lauren doesn't want to admit it, Darien is her best and only chance at finding her friend alive if she can somehow manage to get along with him, and not fall head over heels in love with him in the process, which is far easier said than done. When more women start disappearing and some of them slowly turn up dead, Lauren and Darien's search for answers takes them back into Angelthine's corrupt underbelly, where they discover a dark secret that threatens to unravel their world. And when tragedy strikes, Lauren learns that love can make an ordinary person do extraordinary things. That sounds absolutely amazing. I'm so excited. I have heard, like I said, so many good things about this series, and I feel like I just need a new fantasy to just literally like grasp me and pull me back into my book girly era, because your girl's been struggling this year. So I'm so excited to get into this book, start a new fantasy series, and just see where it takes us. Alright, let's do a quick little recap on my March TBR. First, we have Magnolia Park's The Long Way Home by Jessa Hastings, Happy Place by Emily Henry, First Time Caller by B.K. Borison, The Favorites by Lainey Fargo, Lies That Bleed by Leah Stone, and lastly, City of Gods and Monsters by Kayla Edwards. I'm so excited about all of these books. I think these are some really good picks. We have some rereads, we have some romances, we have some fantasy, literally a sprinkle of everything in here. So I absolutely cannot wait to get into all of these books. We will see if I can finish them in March or not. Hopefully I can get right back into reading and really like dive head first into being my book girly self. But I'm so beyond excited about this lineup. I think it's going to be such a good reading month, and that's also knocking a few things off my TBR before so many new releases come out in April that I'm so excited about. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed my March TBR. Let me know down below if you've read any of these, if you love them, if you dislike them, what's on your March TBR. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my face. Check out all my socials down below. I love you to the moon and Saturn, and I will see you in my next one. Bye guys.